Going after Marjorie Taylor Greene is now the joint strategy of Republicans and Democrats. Because to the Democrats on this panel, you'll hear how wild and reckless she is, and to the Republicans, she's wicked and evil for standing up to Trump, and she's all about the money. It's Sean Daniel here. Before we hear this argument and before we break it down, let me know what you think of Marjorie Taylor Greene down in the comments. Last time I asked you guys, heard some pretty negative things from a lot of you, which I was disagreeing with in the comments. Let's go.
What a mysterious and bewildering breakup. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene explaining why she's leaving Congress January 5th, directing much of the blame at President Trump. My panel's here to discuss. Congresswoman Elfreth, that's your colleague, announcing that she's stepping down, seemingly blaming most of it on Trump and seemingly blaming it on the breakup over the Epstein files.
Yeah, listen, she did the right thing this week, unequivocally signing that discharge petition, releasing the Epstein files.
Was that this week?
I know. Monday. It's been a long week. And she's right on healthcare affordability. Now, she's welcome to sign that discharge petition and actually get the ball moving on ACA subsidies. But she's also contributed to the chaos that is the institution. And between her and a couple other actors, I mean, this week in particular, it has felt like we're a reality TV show. Andy Cohen might as well be producing us at this point. And we all have an obligation to turn this ship around because the American people are just rightfully distrustful of the whole thing.
Sure, Michael, I want you to listen to what Congressman Ro Khanna said in reaction to her stepping down.
She probably has more populist instincts than J.D. Vance, who's the front runner on the Republican side. It would not surprise me if she runs in 2028. And I actually think she's more in touch with some of the populism that fueled Donald Trump's rise than Trump and Vance are these days.
No, I don't know how much our friend Ro Khanna is being a mischief maker there. But what do you think about her running for president?
I absolutely don't see that. I've also heard people saying, well, maybe she'll run for Senate in Georgia. That's unrealistic to me. I think the president's new posture against her makes that very difficult for MAGA-leaning Republicans in the state. So then the second question becomes, well, could she run as a more traditional conservative, contextually speaking, someone like a Kemp? Well, those Republicans absolutely dislike Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I'm thinking there's some other opportunity, perhaps in the media ecosystem, that she's looking at. But I think her future life in politics is over, Jake.
What do you think about the speculation she might run for president?
I think she's a swampy grifter, and she's going to do whatever it takes to make money. I mean, Marjorie's pension does not vest until January the 4th, so she's resigning on January the 5th. She also knows that by dropping out, she makes life hard on Mike Johnson for 6 months. We'll go down to 435, four members of the House. Majority still 218. She's undermined Mike Johnson every chance she can get. She's undermined the president every chance she can get. Also, she can draw attention and clickbait to herself. So I think her next move will be something to make money.
I totally agree. I think we're going to hear the announcement of the take with Marjorie Taylor Greene or what have you at some point in the next few months. That feels like realistically the next place for her. And I was going to say the same thing. She's trying to make life as hard as possible for congressional Republicans moving forward. There's obviously a lot of personal grievance with Trump, and she's certainly, I think, done admirable, not just admirable, but important work in holding Trump's feet to the fire, keeping congressional Republicans moving forward on forcing the Epstein disclosure. So I can certainly acknowledge that for her. But I also think this is emblematic of the larger trajectory of the MAGA movement. Trump is starting to enter slowly a lame duck period. And you're seeing divisions, not just on the Epstein issue, you're seeing it on questions around Israel, you're seeing it around questions of healthcare subsidies, American assistance overseas. These questions are only going to continue to foment, and it's going to be a challenge for him to continue to have the same iron grip that he's had on the Republican caucus.
Well, the portion of the so-called Republican Party that's anti-Israel and pro-welfare can leave. And if Marjorie Taylor's going to start that exodus, that's fine with most of us.
Portion of the MAGA movement that's anti-Israel and whatever else he said, they can leave. Let me know what you guys think about this take about Marjorie Taylor Greene by the Democrat and the Republican guy right there, about how much of a grifter, selfish, going behind the president's back she is. Because I totally disagree. And I'm going to disagree probably with a good amount of you guys. Not all of you. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene campaigned around for Trump endlessly. I believe she went to the trial in New York on her own to showcase support for him. She said some outlandish and strong stuff in favor of Trump in these State of the Union addresses that Biden has done. She's been one of the most vocal supporters, and she has stood against the Israel lobby and she fought for the Epstein files release, and now that was a deal breaker for Trump. And it's a deal breaker for these traditional Republicans like this guy on the desk, who apparently has no issue with Trump flip-flopping on the Epstein files and has no issue if we just do all of Israel's bidding. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you guys are super big Israel fans. You got to remember that there's a difference between the government of Israel and Jewish people. We can't throw this whole anti-Semitic claim all the time just because you speak out against the Israeli government, which is what Marjorie Taylor Greene has done. But it's interesting to see that you see Democrats and Republicans uniting against Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you have Trump going after her just because she went against him on the Epstein files, which he eventually said everyone should vote for.
You know, what's interesting about this is, like, previously the Republicans that President Trump has essentially chased out of the party or chased out of service are more traditional, mainstream-ish characters. Tom Tillis is retiring, Don Bacon is retiring, and then, of course, you have the whole history of Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney, Jeff Flake, Bob Corker. This is the first, and maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I can remember, this is the first, like, MAGA Republican that he has essentially chased down.
Well, yeah, and it's because of her posture on the Epstein files, which the president, by the way, ultimately did sign. So at some point, I presume the American people will know what's there. I think this is a bit of political posturing from Democrats. I mean, they had an opportunity, 2021, 2022, when they controlled the House, the Senate, and the White House to do what they're now saying is at the feet of Republicans, what they're attempting to blame the president on. And despite the president's criticism of Marjorie Taylor Greene, think about someone like Thomas Massie, who the president has criticized significantly. Massie appears to be raising a lot of money. I'm not exactly sure, Brad, if he'll lose that race. We'll see. But I bring that up as an example to say that if she did not decide to step away from Congress, she probably would have won her reelection from some of the local polling I've seen.
Yeah. Let's turn to another subject that also has to do with your colleagues, which is there are 6 Democrats in the House and Senate who issued this video basically saying to members of the military, reminding them you don't have to obey illegal orders. President Trump talking about how that's sedition, which it isn't, and talking about how it's punishable by death. And then last night he wrote on Truth Social, quote, "The traitors that told the military to disobey my orders should be in jail right now. It was sedition at the highest level, and sedition is a major crime." Again, sedition needs to involve a threat of force, which this did not. And also, he didn't say disobey orders. He said disobey illegal orders. But that said, what's your reaction?
Well, I'm really grateful I woke up in a country where the president doesn't dictate who goes to jail, number one. Number two, I serve with a lot of these folks on the Armed Services Committee. We all swore an oath to the Constitution. They served their country in uniform. They were simply advising their constituents on a really sticky legal issue. And we should be concerned, most importantly, with not just the safety of our military, but the legal liability of our service members.
Democrats are a joke. The military troops are trained to know what to do if they're given an act that is illegal. They will not follow it. Why did they do this? Because they were hoping that the president would respond the way he did. Thankfully, he cleaned it up. But there's no political gains out of this.
Can I just say, I grew up in the South. We have a phrase, a kick dog hollers. And the president's response here indicates that he's a kick dog. And I think the fact that he's gone to this, in a moment of incredible political heightened intensity in this country, to go immediately to this should be punishable by death is an incredibly dangerous thing.
This is highly irresponsible by these Democrats. They are trying to shred the chain of command. No one's giving illegal orders, and every soldier knows they don't have to obey them. This was a dangerous, irresponsible move.
So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time with your family and friends.
It really is wicked that these Democrats decide to publicly put pressure on military members and try to really persuade them against following commanding orders. And if that's a precedent that's allowed to continue, technically everyone has freedom of speech. That's true. But it's really wicked. I'm not saying it's illegal, but it's wicked to really try to really just undermine the authority of the president, undermine the authority of other military people, other military leaders. It's really wicked because you could have this disintegration of the chain of command within the military. Now, if you know anything about the military, from the limited things that I know, I'm not going to say every order is right or every order is fully absent from the influence of power, of money, of control, of wanting to keep their rising people's ranks up higher and higher so they can retire with a great pension. I'm not saying every command, I bet, in the military is free from the influence of those things. But if you do have Democrats really starting to sway people away from following their commanding orders and just saying, all these orders you guys are getting are illegal, that's pretty wicked. That's pretty wicked, because it's also a disrespect to the military to think that they don't have commanding officers in place, structures, hierarchy that would check these orders. It's just like the lie that they try to promote about Trump shooting down those drug boats, thinking that it's just Trump in one room saying, yeah, I want to shoot them, boom. And that it's not based on a multitude of intelligence, quality people, qualified people giving different recommendations, informations, research. It's so disingenuous to insinuate that that big call to strike a boat is solely based on the idea of, oh, Trump sitting in the room hitting a button. And it's kind of the same way they're trying to insinuate that Trump and all these people are giving illegal orders and the military members better not follow them. It's pretty wicked. It's SeanDaniel here. Thank you guys for watching. Keep going on the Sunday Marathon. I'll have the video up here, and I'll see you there.